I just had the locksmith come by to create a new key for us for two of the doors. And as you can see, going into the walkway, the timbers underneath my feet are weak. The drains are all blocked up with pine needles, litter everywhere. But at least now I have a chance to look at the inside where I had previously not been able to look, except for through the windows. Now, in the windows, I could tell that there had been a lot of problems, and now you can see just to what extent that there has been chaos created. Obviously, every drawer is emptied. Things that were in closets or in any storage were just rummaged through, looking obviously for valuables. And this is what the locksmith and I saw when we finally got the door open. Now, some of the things, like you're seeing there, the television was left behind, maybe because it's an old television and not a smart television. The fans are in bad shape. The floor itself creaks when you walk, which probably means that the subfloor here is weak, needs reinforcing. The interior of this room that I'm walking into, which is the main living room, has wood paneling on it, which appears to be in really good shape. But again, underneath, the carpet is moldy, and there's just absolute chaos. And I think probably anything of any real value that was portable has probably been taken. And it may have been started by the police doing a warrant, a search warrant on the property. It's hard to say at this point. But it is every square inch. Literally, you can't walk in here without stepping on soiled clothing, beer cans, obviously empty. All of the house. I'm filming after I've been through with the locksmith, so I have a pretty good idea, but as I said before, carpet's absolutely destroyed, creaky floor. This is the area walking into the kitchen, and just like the rest of the place, everything has been pulled out of the drawers. I found a lot of electrical appliances well, if there were ever here, it's kind of hard to say, electrical appliance missing. The refrigerator and freezer, this is what really grossed Diana out. All of the food that was in there 2 years ago is still in there. And of course, the doors were closed on the refrigerator and freezer, so obviously they wreaked damage on that. Here's one that really kind of surprised me. The dishwasher. It's got everything from foodstuffs that are obviously very old to dirty food containers. And the stove itself is an old model stove. It is electric, but it is just completely covered. The sink hydrant is gone. The sinks themselves are very corroded. Again, every single drawer has been opened. Anything of value has been taken. The ceiling in this area is in a relatively good shape. Now we go into what I presume was the master bedroom, and in here, looks like there might have been some critters in here that were tearing things up, gathering up things, but all of the clothes are soiled. The wall itself is in relatively good shape. The drapes in relatively good shape. A window unit. Haven't turned on the electricity, so I have no idea what the status of that is. But all of the things that are in here evidence somebody looking for valuables. And of course, sadly, quite a lot of empty alcoholic beverage containers, wine cartons, bottles, hard liquor. The bathroom, I'm not sure I'll be able to get this because, again, I don't have the electricity on, but there are in the closet some hanging clothes. The bathroom adjoining to the next room over. Another closet. I'm not sure why this particular sink would have been in such bad shape, but it must have had some organic material in here that something got in here, because there's lots and lots of droppings from small rodents to larger rodents. And believe it or not, this is the better room than the lower level. It sorry for the rocking motion. If it makes you motion sick, I apologize, but you really do have to just kind of step over, around, and through all of the litter. Thankfully, the littering did not happen on this circular stairwell to any great extent. But as indicated, electrical appliances down here. Now this is the area where probably the most damage has been done. This carpet's in relatively good condition, but it still has creaky floors, which indicates that there might be some rot. Fans in bad shape. This one is untouched, but throughout the house you find container after container with empty alcoholic beverages. This cabinet in particular, all of the drawers have been pulled open and things taken out of them. But again, as I mentioned earlier, this is the room with the greatest amount of damage. And the locksmith and I, when walking through, theorized that what we probably have here are water lines that still had water after turning off the electricity in the water. And of course it completely cracked open the plumbing whenever the first couple of freezes happened, and consequently it all came tumbling down, which is bad enough in its own, but throughout there's lots of water damage, indicating the potential, at least here, for the potential of rotting wood, because nothing has been done to stem that leak all through this part of the subfloor. And it's dark for a reason. Water dripping down here, so inside of that wall is more likely. But as you would expect with the water damage, lots and lots of mold on everything in here. Black mold, by the way, if that's important at this point. There are pieces of furniture, which, of course, all of the linen and the mattresses are destroyed due to the lack of attention. Ducting is, at least in this room, is apparently intact. The closets weren't spared. There's water damage, and you can see the ceilings are falling down in there as well. The area here, I guess you could call it the utility room, is not surprisingly in as bad a shape as the living area is. Of course, this is hard. It's hard to say whether these clothes were just simply not laundered or they're part of the dishevelment that occurred. But there's certainly a lot of stuff that you have to walk on in order to make your way around. The washer dryer without electricity, it's hard to say what the condition is of them. Hopefully, as soon as the utilities are turned on, more will be known. This particular room, no lights, but it is where the furnace and the water softener. Let's see if I can get anything. Maybe I can open the other door. Let's see. No clothing scattered around, but there's plenty of other litter in here. This was the other lock that was replaced. Again, lots and lots of empty beverage containers. So this is falling apart, been broken down for whatever reason. Things are jumbled up. And throughout, I see, for some odd reason, the insulation within the walls and the ceilings pulled at as if some animal was using it as nesting material. Again, the clothing is missing, but there's plenty of empty containers. Troubling for me is this piece of ductwork, which it's not obvious what it was attached to, but it's fallen down. And in addition, there is an open water line with corrosion around it. Hard to say what the status of the furnace is at this point. It's certainly been attacked in some form or fashion. The good news is that the water heater itself, there's a box actually directly behind me here, so it looks like it's probably no more than 2 or 3 years old. And there was a water softener installed on the system. The water should be on, along with the other utilities, hopefully by midweek. The plumbing has been redone to some extent with the new PEX system, and we see lines running various places out of this water softener and the heater. And so again, when the water is on, it'll be tested. But we do have water leaks, as I've already shown you, that indicate that in some of the ceilings, the pipes burst. I'm surmising that because of the freezing conditions that it's been through. The house has been shuttered for 2 years, according to the electric company I spoke to earlier about getting utilities turned on. And one of the reasons why it was important for us to get the locksmith in and getting it opened is that obviously to turn on utilities, they require us to not only be here when they turn on the utilities, but that in the case of electricity, since it's been off for over 2 years, that a licensed electrician would come and make sure that simply by turning on the electricity, they don't generate sparks to start a fire to burn down the house, which in our dry conditions right now could easily lead to a burning of forestry around us. So again, this is interior-wise, structurally the worst. I don't know at this point, without having sorted through all of this stuff, what's valuable, what's garbage. I expect very little treasure is going to be here. One thing that I will take up when we go through the exterior on another tape will be the destruction of the walkway. Somewhere in the house, there used to be a fireplace coming out of this corner. The chimney still exists on the roof, but all of the ceilings have been closed off. And I might say a fairly recent treatment of texture and paint on the ceilings so that it does have a very nice appearance. Window coverings pretty much all gone, shot, due to various circumstances. Some of it was vandalism. Some of it was probably just the changing weather conditions, humidity and dryness inside of the house. And so that concludes the tour. And now to get into the utility parts, which will occur next week, and then sorting through, and I guess you could say making a path through some of this so that the utility people, the electrician, water, and gas, can walk through without liability to me and or to the property. Okay, thanks again.